At number 1, we have the front and rear suspension. In the front, I went with the Elka 2.0 coilovers and the SPC upper control arms. The Elka coilovers have been great. They are made in Canada and very good quality, and I've been very happy with their performance. They can be adjusted between 2 to 3 inches of lift, and mine are set to about 2.5 inches. The SPC upper control arms are adjustable, which help me get a good alignment, and although I've heard mixed reviews about them, they've been great so far for me. In the back, I went with the Bilstein 5100 shocks for a 4th or 5th gen 4runner. They are both the same, but when you use them on a 3rd gen 4runner, it gives you about an extra inch of lift. The coils are Dobinson's Land Cruiser front springs, which give about a 4-inch lift. The total cost of this setup was about $2,300. At number 2, we have wheels and tires. So for the tires, I'm running the 35 by 12.5 by 17 inch Goodyear Duratrack all-terrains. These tires have been amazing on and off-road. For the wheels, these are the ProComp 97 series Rock Crawler steel wheels, which I've been very happy with. Total cost of this is about $2,100, not including balance and install. Next up are my front and rear steel bumpers. In the front, I have the Coastal Off-Road High Clearance bumper. These bumpers come in pieces that have to be welded together. I really like this bumper because I think it looks great. It's pretty light for a steel bumper and it's very high clearance. The rear bumper is custom made from a friend of mine. It came out really nice. It's got the single swing out with a tire carrier, the quarter panel protection hoops, and a couple of recovery points. I had both bumpers powder coated as well. Total cost for the bumpers was about $2,100, not including powder coat. At number 4, we have the 529 Yukon gears. This would normally cost much more, like 4 to 5 times more, but I had a friend of mine do the regear for me. Not only did he give me a good deal, but I also saved a lot on labor because I removed the diffs myself and reinstalled everything. He just did the actual regearing. Total cost was about $1,500, but had I taken it to a shop, it would have easily been over $5,000 to $6,000. Next up is the undercoating that I had done a little over a year ago. I don't know the exact process that they use, but I know they use something called dry ice blasting to remove rust and other debris from the frame, and then they spray it with a wax-based undercoating. Although I had a bad experience with the shop who did it, the results were pretty good, and after a year, the underside of my 4runner still looks really nice. Total cost for this was around $1,500. Next is my retrofit headlights. The headlight assembly is from Rock Auto, but you can also get them from Amazon, eBay, or you could use the factory ones on the 4runner. I basically had to remove the glass cover, paint the inside of the housing black, and then install the projectors. The projectors are from a company called BX Built. I don't believe they're around anymore. I think they closed down, but there are still a couple places that sell them. It gave the 4runner a nice facelift, and the light output is amazing. Total cost for these headlights can vary between $500 to $1,000 depending on how much you want to customize them. Number 7 is my winch. This is just an Amazon brand called X-Bull. It's a 13.5K winch with a synthetic line. I've been very happy with this winch. It looks really nice and it's gotten me out of a few sticky situations. I only paid $300 for it about a year ago, but the price varies from $300 to $500. At number 8, we have my custom-made roof rack which I built myself. I just used aluminum sheet to cut out the side rails and the wind fairing, and then I used aluminum extrusions for the crossbars. I used this rack to mount my rooftop tent and it worked great. I actually have a template for the roof rack available for sale which can help you build the same one without having to measure anything. The link for that is in the description below. The total cost for this roof rack is around $400. At number 9, we have my Toyota Crown front seats. This was totally unplanned. I was at the junkyard one day and I came across this Toyota Crown, which was crazy because these cars are very rare and they never even make it to the junkyard. When I saw the seats, I just thought to myself, there's no way I'm not taking these. So of course, I ended up buying them. I had to modify them quite a bit to make them fit in the 4runner, but it was all worth it. Even though they sit a bit higher than the stock seats, they look amazing and are very comfortable. The seats cost me about $100 at the junkyard. Next up is my Satoshi grill. I basically just cut up my factory grill, sanded and painted it, got some of this mesh material from eBay along with this Toyota emblem, and put it all together. I love the way it came out and it gives a nice facelift to the 4runner. Total cost was around $100. At number 11, we have the cam eliminator kit from 333 Fabrications. This just replaces the adjuster bolts on the lower control arms. The idea behind it is that the factory adjusters have a round plate which under hard enough load can rotate and throw off your alignment. Since these plates are square, there's no way for them to rotate, so it basically locks in your alignment. This costs $100. Next up is my radiator. As you may know, the factory radiators on these 4runners are quite long and they stick down past the frame rails. What I did here was I replaced it with a radiator from a first generation Tacoma with the 4-cylinder engine, which has the identical radiator, only shorter in height. It's about 4 inches shorter, and as you can see, it doesn't stick down past the frame. My plan is to have a custom skid plate made, which will give me a bit more clearance and better approach angle. This radiator was around $90 to $100. Next, we have some ditch lights. I got these from a company called Colite, and I love the way they look. I wired it up and mounted them into my coastal bumper, and they turned out great. They are very bright and really nice if you're out wheeling at night or just out camping. These are about $80, and I do have a discount code in the description below if you're interested in getting one of these. At number 14, we have some steering rack bushings from Total Chaos. These are polyurethane and are supposed to be much better than the factory ones. Mine were due to be replaced anyway, so I went with these ones and I really like them. Total cost for this is around $40. Next, we have my Tacoma whip antenna. The 3rd gen 4runners came with a motorized antenna which were notorious to break or just stop working. Mine was broken, so I decided to do this taco whip mod, which basically replaces the factory antenna with a non-motorized whip style antenna. I like the way it looks, but it's also less likely for it to break, and I'm able to listen to my radio again. The price can vary from around $20 to $100 depending if you buy everything brand new or if you're able to find it at a junkyard or off a parts truck. Next, we have the extended rear brake line. When I lifted the rear of the 4runner, the factory brake line was not long enough to work properly. If I had kept it, it would have eventually ripped right off and I'd lose all my brake fluid. I replaced it with this nice steel braided extended line, which is a few inches longer and it works great. This costs about $35. At number 17, we have my custom-made front mud flaps. I was tired of having a dirty truck. I'd leave the car wash and after 5 minutes, the side of my 4runner was covered in dirt. So I went and bought some of this mud flap material, cut it to size, and made them work. They turned out very nice and I've been keeping my 4runner nice and clean. Total cost is about $20. Last but not least, we have my washer fluid reservoir relocation mod. I had to do this because the factory washer fluid reservoir is right in front of the front passenger wheel, and with the 35-inch tires, I didn't want my tire hitting it. So I removed the factory one and replaced it with a small one, which I was able to fit inside the engine bay. This costs about $8. I think that covers all of the mods I've done on my 4runner. As you can see here, the total cost was roughly $11,293, and keep in mind that this is just for parts. Since I did 95% of the work myself, I didn't need to pay for any labor, but had I taken it to a shop to get everything done, this number would have easily been double, if not triple. Well, I think that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to the channel, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.